Hi, I'm Carl Rowland with Sherline Products. In this video, we're going to show you how to sweep in, indicate your mill in, okay? When you first get the mill, it should be pretty close to being true. On most of them, the column comes separate because that's how we ship it, and you're going to want to sweep it in to make sure that your head's perpendicular to the top of your mill table or your top of your tooling plate, okay? If you crash your machine, it's almost a guarantee that it's going to be out of square after you crash it. So for this video, we're using the AccuPro, which has a tool touch plate, okay? And this is, you can see from our tool touch plate that already has a couple little dings in it, which means that we've already crashed this machine twice. So don't feel bad when you do it. It happens to us too. Normally the way this happens is this is your ground, which should be clipped on up here. And when the tool touches the tooling plate, it completes the ground circuit and the Z-axis retracts. So if for some reason this has come off or you forgot to put it on, and then you go to your tooling page and you tell it to touch off on your tool plate, what's going to happen is it's going to come down, and when it touches here, it's going to continue to drive into the table. Fortunately, on our mill, this is the locking screw right here that locks the column. And on the back side, let's see if you can get it, if you can see it here. This is your adjuster, this is your plate with your adjuster screw right here. So you use this screw to loosen it or tighten it to move the head one way or the other. And it's going into a flat that's on the arm right here. So fortunately, if you crash this in the Z-axis, what's going to happen is when it drives into the table, it's going to force the entire head back this way. So the arm is going to pivot this way, which means the flat is going to move away from the screw. So as long as your screw doesn't move, you can bring the head back until the flat touches the screw and be very close to being square, okay? So we're going to crash our machine right now. I'm going to go to Tool, and I'm going to go, so it's going to come down and it's not going to stop, and I'm going to hit the E-stop once it goes too far. Okay, and this is moving at a pretty slow rate. Obviously, if you make a mistake when you're running the machine and this is your end mill and you crash into the part, it's going normally at rapid speed, and it's not going to be as nice of a crash as this is. Okay, and you can see the head's already moving. Oh no, the head's moving, I blew it. E-stop. Okay. So right now my head is kicked off a couple degrees here, all right? So I'm going to cancel, get out of here. Going to go to jog, continuous. And I'm going to bring it up. Okay, so on the AccuPro machines, the column here is not designed to pivot from side to side. However, there is a little bit of clearance on these 4 holes to the clearance screw. So you can adjust it a little bit side to side. You can adjust it a whole lot front to back. So what we're going to do is show the front to back first, and then we'll show side to side. So what I have here, we're going to take this guy off. My crash tool. And what I have is, this is a last call, last word, stare at 1/10 indicator. Each line's 1/10. And it's got this nice arm mount. So, let me get this on here. Okay, there we go. All right. So now I'm going to move this to a position where I can sweep in an entire circle. The further you have this out, the larger diameter that you sweep, the more accurate you're going to be able to get your head swept in. Okay, so I already went to a position on here. So I'm going to go to G53, G00, X minus 3.648. Y, hold on, G53, G00, Y minus 4.0645. Okay, all right, the first thing we're going to want to do, you can see that the head's tilted back right now. We've got our multi-wrench, and we're going to break the nut loose on the side. Oh. As soon as I do that, you can see that it comes up and it stops where the adjuster screw hits the flat. So right here in this position, I should be fairly close to square. So right now, I'm not going to tighten this super tight. I'm just going to tighten it snug right there. Now I'm going to bring my Z-axis down. I'm going to jog. Okay, I get close to being above the table. Okay, the next thing is I want you to notice the angle that the indicator is at. In our instruction manual, it shows the indicator at a 45-degree angle like this. And when it's at a 45-degree angle, the surface you're going to touch is touching that ball at a 45-degree angle. You're not going to get a 1-to-1 ratio there. So what you want is to have your indicator at less of an angle. Closer to 90 degrees. So now when you bring it down, it's actually going to be pushing on the side of the indicator tip. So that's when you're sweeping it this way. If I were using it in the upright orientation, if I was using it this way and I was coming down, say I want to check how flat this surface is. Again, I want it touching on the side of the ball. So what I would want to do is bring my tip out almost 90 degrees to the body, like so. It's got to be down somewhat. Hold on. It's got to be down somewhat so that the tip of the indicator tip is below the end of the indicator, but that's almost 90. So right now, if I come down and I touch this surface, again, the contact's going to be with the side of the indicator ball, and that gives me a 1-to-1 reading. I've readjusted my indicator because I'm going to be sweeping it in. And I bring it down close to being above the table, and now what I want to see is where the indicator is actually going to be touching the table. So front and back, I don't want it in the middle of one of these holes, and side to side I want to have a place where it's touching on flat surface also. So I've got flat surface on both sides, I've got a flat surface directly behind and directly in front. I'm going to move it that way just a little bit. So I got side to side, and we can move this, and front to back. That's cool. Actually go. So now what I'm going to do is bring it down until it registers on the indicator, and I'm going to see what it reads front to back, and then we'll adjust our head this way. Once I get close, I'll go to increment 10. That just ticked there. All right, I'm reading 0 in the front, And reading nothing in the back. So I have to adjust my head back this way. Now, very important, when I'm adjusting from side to side, because my pivot point is right here, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. If I have 2 thousandths difference and I raise this side 1 thou, it'll lower it on this side 1 thou. Okay, because the pivot point in the y-axis is all the way back here, this is not a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so you've got to either take larger steps or smaller steps in order to get it to 0 out front to back. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use the adjuster screw, and that just pulled it back a little bit. So right now, we'll bring it down some more. On a manual machine, you're just bringing this down by hand. So I'm a little bit past 0 there. And back here, I'm a thou before 0. So I'm going to bring this a little more. Oh, wrong way, okay. All right, so I got a little bit beyond 0 there, and now I got 2, 3, considerably beyond 0. I'm just going to go back a thou. So I'm getting closer. Hold on. Take this off. Whoop. Quite a bit there. 0. And 2. One before. And a little more than 2. It's 2.5. So right now I'm a half past 0. And I'm right at 0. So that's within a half a thou. Okay. Oop, wrong way. They've got a little bit before 0, a couple tenths before 0, and a couple tenths after 0. So I'm going to say we're good right there. Okay, so now I'm going to lock this guy in place. Okay, and then okay, and you're going to want to lock it down pretty good. Okay. All right, then check it again. I've got 1 before 0 and 1 after 0, so that's 2 tenths. So this way we're square right now. All right, now I'm going to jog it up. As far as square this way goes, normally what knocks it out of square that way is you're just taking a really heavy cut, more than you should, or you crash into the side of your vise or something, but it's a sideways load on your cutter. So in order to square it up side to side, you have 4 screws right here, 4 1032s. Break each one of them loose and then just bring it back to snug. And then what I do is you want to have one of them that's a little better than snug. So I'm going to make this one here. And then the other 3, they're going to definitely be loose. So all my adjustments are happening from this hole. Actually, I don't want to do that hole. I take it back. We're going to do this one here. We'll make it the bottom corner. So this guy's snug. So these 3 are loose and this one is snug. All right, so now I'm going to bring it back down again. And this time we're going to go side to side. That's pretty close. So I'm going to check from this side to this side. And actually we'll check the same place on the table basically as far as the center goes. So there to there looks good. We'll go to increment, step it down until I get a reading. Actually, we'll do it this side. Of about 4/10 before 0. And on this side, okay, and on this side I am 4/1000 beyond 0. So I want to push on this side of the bed. Loosen this guy up just a hair more. I'm going to snug him down. Sweep it in. Whoa. I'm down too far. Hold on. So that's before 0. Pretty close. So I got about 1/2 thou before 0 and 1/2 thou before 0. So I want to go to about 1/2 thou before 0. So I got 1 there. Going to tighten up. And when you tighten other screws, it's going to move a little bit too. So I'm at a little more than 2 before and a little less than 2. Okay, I'm going to bring it down again. So I got 2 after 0, 2/10 after 0, and I have 1/2 thou before. About there. Zero. Okay, 2/10 before 0. And 4/10 before 0. 2/10, 2/10 and 3/10. So I'm within 2/10 of being dead square. And I'm going to say we're there. So now I'm going to adjust these guys kitty corner a little bit each time. And watch your indicator to see if it's going to move some just from the torque you put on the screw, but it'll generally bounce back to where it was. All right, I'm within 1/10 either side of 0 all the way around. So right now the head is square. Okay, so we're looking good. So the side nut is tight. All 4 of these are tight. So we are square. If you have our 2000 mil 8-axis direction mill, okay, it has the ability to actually turn on this axis, and you've got a pointer with your degree marks on it. You can still do minor adjustments using the 4 right here. If you've got this guy set at 0, just like we just did with the other mill. The best way is you've got these 4 screws right here on the disc, and you just loosen these 4 up. And then you're adjusting the head one direction or the other until you actually get it dialed dead true. Okay? So that's the only difference between the AccuPro machine and our 2000. Okay? 2000 it's actually a wider range, and once you get it in there, then you just loosen the screw and adjust your pointer to 0. And then if you crash it or whatever, and it gets out of square, your pointer gets you back in the ballpark, and then it's just a minor adjustment one side or the other to get it squared in. Okay? So that should cover it. Thank you.